And now this is where your prompt is going to go in. I've already created one here to act like a SOC analyst to review the web proxy logs. My AI-driven cybersecurity analyst series is all about using AI tools to let you know if it's worth your time. I'll often highlight risks, suggest pro tips, or alternative tools to help you shine like a unicorn. In this video, I want to show you the AI function built into Google Sheets. The AI function can be used to generate text, summarize information, categorize information, analyze sentiment, and access real-time information from Google searches. To use the AI function in Google Sheets, it's fairly simple. You can type equal AI and then parentheses, or equal Gemini and then parentheses. To use the AI function, we're going to put quotes around some text that we want to prompt the large language model with, and then optional, but typically in my use cases, you're going to reference one or more cells in that function. So let's pivot over to a staged sheet that I have and one of the use cases where I've used the AI function. So here I have a small subset of secure web gateway logs that I've extracted. Typically, from my experience, the average user is going to have somewhere around 16,000 transactions per hour. So it's a lot of telemetry that's generated. And for someone that's new or less experienced looking at these types of logs, it's a lot of information. As you can see by all the columns here, we have everything from date and timestamps, users, we have the URL, policies, categorizations, bytes sent and received, total bytes, all kinds of data about each transaction here. So it can be quite overwhelming for a new security analyst or someone not familiar with looking at secure web gateway proxies. Now, I want to say this AI function here will help a cybersecurity analyst narrow in on things that might be suspicious or help make determinations, but this should not be used as a replacement for understanding the logs, what anomalies look like, and how to find malicious things within your logs, right? So this is a tool to be used as a co-pilot, not a replacement for understanding the underlying telemetry. Okay, so we have just a small subset here to make this video short. I didn't want to run this function across 8,000 or 16,000 transactions. We'd be sitting here for quite some time. So let's take a look at how we can use this. So in my clipboard, I have created a fairly short prompt, right? You can even use a generative AI tool to create the prompt for you or steer it in the way that you want. So I'm going to focus on the URLs here in this example. I have some URLs that I've already identified as part of a phishing campaign. They were typo squatting on SurveyMonkey SSO authentication. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and hide all the columns here to the right, just so we can easily use this AI function without seeing all this other stuff. So let me click on these and hide them. And now I'm going to find a blank column here, which is EC in my case. I'm going to go ahead and type the equal sign and then AI, open bracket here, and quote. And now this is where your prompt is going to go in. I've already created one here to act like a SOC analyst to review the web proxy logs, and then I've instructed it the output that I want. If you followed any of my other videos, you know the more you provide as input and then a prescriptive output, you're going to get better results here. So in my case, the output, I want to know, what does it think? Is it benign, suspicious, likely an incident? What's the confidence score it has? And then give me a sentence or so why it thinks this is malicious or benign or whatever. And then next steps on action items to take. I'm going to close this off with another quote there. So we've wrapped our text of our instructions to the prompt in quotations. Then we're going to put a comma there and then give it a cell range. So for this cell, I am currently in EC2. And so I want to now reference this F2 cell, right? This is the first cell that I want to look at. You can select more than one cell with a colon and then the ending of your range, or whichever cell is the end of your range. However, I want to do this just for an example, URL by URL, and have it analyze that rather than the whole range and tell me what happened, because assuming I'm looking at 16,000 rows, it's not one thing that's happening, it's a lot of stuff going on. So I just want to look at one URL at a time in this case. I'm going to close this off with another bracket and let it run. While it's doing its thing in the background, we can see the little Gemini logo running. I'm going to drag this down so that the same formula applies to all of my cells here. And then we can start seeing that the large language model has started providing us a verdict. So this first URL it has said it's suspicious and the confidence level is 85. And then why? Because the URL uses a auth subdomain on SurveyMonkey, a legitimate service frequently abused by attackers to host phishing redirects. That's exactly what's happening here, right? And then this next one here, it's got a slightly higher confidence score. If we scroll down here to these other paths and files that were accessed, right, the confidence is fairly high here, and it's saying it's lookalike. What else does it have here? That it's likely phishing, right? And then as we get further down here to this login password, the confidence level went up to even a 95, and it's saying that it's using keywords like auth and login password.js to harvest credentials. That's exactly what's happening. And now we probably could have given it a larger range of data to look at. So if we look back at the formula here, I only asked it to look at F6 in this case, which is the URL. I probably could have given it more columns, and so it would have been able to see, is this a post request, a GET request? Give it more context so that it's not trying to guess what happened here, because if I remember correctly, looking at some of these answers, here we go, it says one of the next steps is to immediately block the domain, the alert security team, and then search logs for other user connects or posts. If I remember correctly, if we unhid this, this was a post. So if I would have given it that column as well as the HTTP request method, it probably would have given us a better output saying, hey, this was a post to surveymonkey/js/login password.js. Therefore, there's likely credential harvesting that already happened, and you should go into incident response. I'm assuming it would have that context if I gave it the request method there as well. So something for me to try next time, but you can see it did a fairly good job analyzing these. This matches a lot of my analysis as well. Obviously, I looked at more columns, so I had a bit more context and determined if data was posted there, passwords need to be reset, etc. So my confidence level is a little higher, and I did the next steps already in my analysis. So that's just one use case. Again, you could add things in if you want, like MITRE attack IDs, if you want to categorize it, all kinds of other stuff in there. But this is a cool little tool if you've got a lot of data, log files and stuff that you're analyzing, and you want some pointers or help. Go ahead and try out the AI function built into Google Sheets and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.